Today's discussion is going to be about prelims elimination strategy. Now, what does this mean? When is elimination required? First, let's understand that, right? In prelims, when you write the prelims, right, or when you mark the prelims answers, there will be questions which you don't know fully, which you're not 100% sure of, right? So there will be questions in which you're 100% sure of the answer, and there will be questions in which you're not 100% sure of the answer. If you're not 100% sure, right, that is when the strategy will kick in. But the aim is not to do the strategy for every single question. That is not the correct answer. The aim is to have as many questions as possible in which you know the answer very well, right? Okay, guys, sorry, the voice was off, so I'll just start again. Really sorry. Okay, small issue here. So again, let's start off. The discussion here is about prelims elimination strategy. I would like you to have last year's prelims 2016 paper downloaded as PDF with you if possible. You can easily find it online. If not, also it's fine. I'll be showing the paper to you. Right now, what I was saying was that when we are muted, we are discussing prelims elimination strategy. However, this strategy is not to be applied everywhere. In prelims, you'll have two primary categories of questions. Though there are questions for which you are 100% sure of the answer, and there are questions for which you are not 100% sure of the answer. Only if you are not 100% sure, any strategy is required. Otherwise, answer is straightforward. You mark the answer, you move on. There is no elimination strategy, etc. required there, except maybe to verify your answers. You can still use elimination just to verify your answers. But for those questions in which you're not 100% sure, there you can use strategy. But the aim is not, please understand, the aim is not to pass the exam by using strategy. No. The aim is to have maximum number of questions which you know well, and to make up the difference, use the strategy. Okay, so you might have seen videos and read articles about using elimination strategy to crack the exam. Sorry, you cannot crack the exam with elimination strategy. You can crack the exam with proper studying and revision strategy. Right? Elimination strategy will give you a bit of edge that will ensure that you crack the exam. That will help you have the extra few marks. That is all elimination strategy can do. Right? So today we are going to discuss elimination strategy, and we are going to understand and give you an orientation about how clear you should be about prelims. A lot of good students actually sometimes don't clear prelims because they're not clear about what is required from prelims. Right? So let's have absolute clarity. We are going to discuss a lot of numbers today. We are going to discuss probabilities today. We are going to discuss percentages today. But don't be scared. Right? Everything is simple. In the end, I'll give you a certain gist of all these things so that you can actually remember these things in the exam hall, because ultimately you have to apply the strategy in the exam hall. That is what matters. Okay. Now, let us understand the paper. Right? I'm starting from the very basics. Let's understand the paper itself. There are 100 questions. Every question carries 2 marks, which means 200 marks are up for grabs. Right? 200 marks are possible. Right? But hardly anybody will get 200 marks. Earlier in paper 2, even today in paper 2, somebody might get 200 marks, right? 190 plus, etc. Even I have got, other people also have got. So it's possible to get. But in GS paper 1, getting close to 200 is not possible. Anyway, that is not our aim. We're not trying to aim for 200 marks. Our aim is what? We want to achieve a mark which can be considered as a safe cutoff. Right? Now, some people will say if you get more than 100, you are pretty sure of clearing. Some people will say 105. But let's aim for a safe cutoff, which means after that you can stop worrying about prelims and start focusing on mains. The day after prelims, you can rest. But from the day after that, you start working for mains. So if you achieve a safe cutoff and you're sure of that, then you can continue from preparing for mains without waiting for prelims results. And that will have a huge impact. So what is this safe cutoff? If we look at the last few years' trends, we can say if you score more than 150, or if you score 115 or more, you are safe. Right? Pretty sure you will clear the exam. You'll clear the prelims. This is for general category. For other categories, it will be slightly lower. But overall, always aim for 150. If you're in any other category, aim for 110. Don't aim for anything lower than that. If you're general category, aim for 150. Any other category, just aim for 110. Don't think I'll aim for 90 and stuff, because it won't work out in the end. Even if you're aiming for 150, later on you might realize you only got 112 marks, etc. So always aim a bit higher, because what we want is safety. It has to be a safe cutoff. So 115 is our goal. So all our strategy, everything is how to achieve this 115 marks, right? Now, you know that every question has 2 marks, which means to get 115 marks, you have to get only 58 answers right. So you have to get 115 out of 200, for which approximately 58 answers, if you get right, you're supposed to get 115, right? But this is not correct, right? If you just get 58, that will mean 100% accuracy. Every question you attempted has to be correct. That will never happen. That will never ever happen. Even the topper cannot attempt 58 questions and get all of them correct, right? Because exam is tough, right? Exam is tough. UPSC is not making a very, very easy paper. So all 58 questions you won't directly get just like that. You have to work a bit hard for that, okay? Now, if you don't get everything right, you'll also get some wrong answers. Okay, now imagine you got 10 questions wrong. You attempted 58, but 10 questions were wrong. Now the villain of the story comes. Who's the villain of the story? Negative marks. Correct? Now, how much is the negative marks in UPSC? 0.33%, or 1/3 of the marks of the question is deducted as negative marks. Now, every question is carrying how many marks? 2 marks. So, 2 into 1/3 is equal to 2/3, or 0.67. So, 0.666666 or 0.67 marks are deducted per negative answer. Now, let's look at it again. You thought 115 is your aim. You attempted 58 questions. You're supposed to get 116 marks out of it, right? But you got 10 wrong. Now, if you get 10 wrong, you get 6.6 negative marks. So, what will happen? You got 48 right and 10 wrong, which means 96 marks from the right answers minus 6. You only get 90, which is not a safe cutoff mark. So 58 questions is not enough. You have to attempt more than 58 questions, right? So don't think 58 will be enough. And with 90, etc., you most likely won't qualify also. Even if your category, etc., you might still not qualify. Okay, so we have to attempt more than 58. So how much should we attempt? Should we attempt 70 then? Is 70 the number? So it is not about just picking a random number. What you have to understand is that as you try to attempt more, right, the easy questions get finished off first. As you try to attempt more and more, it actually becomes tougher and tougher. You're going to a higher category question, which is a tougher question to get right. So your percentage of wrong or your accuracy will come down, right? Now, if I tell you to go to the exam hall and attempt only 1 and come back, you can easily get 100% accuracy. If I ask you to go attempt 5 and come back, you can get 100% accuracy. But if I ask you to attempt all 100 and come back, you will never have high accuracy. You'll have a much lower accuracy. So we have to understand the accuracy percentage also before fixing on what is the number of attempts that we are going to plan for, right? Now imagine you attempt 70 questions, right? Attempted, and 80% is the accuracy, which means 80% of the answers you attempt are right. Then you will get what? You'll get 56 right and you get 14 wrong. Will that be enough? Will that be enough to crack the exam? No, it is still not enough, because you still will not get enough right. Now, what if you attempt 80 at an accuracy of around 75%? Then we'll end up getting around 107 marks. Now we are much closer. 115 was the aim. If we attempt 80 questions at 75% accuracy, we might get around 107. Now, I could have asked you to attempt more questions, but more than 80 is always a bit difficult to attempt, right? Now, we're very close to the correct number that we want. What if we are able to attempt 80 to 85 questions at around 80% accuracy? 80% accuracy, I'll show you, is actually possible. In that case, you'll get 64 right and 16 wrong, which will mean 128 minus 11, which will equal to 117 marks. So you will have 117 marks if you do that. Correct? Okay. So 80 to 85 questions at 80% accuracy should be our goal, because at 117 you have cleared. You will clear the prelims exam. Correct? So this is what you'll achieve. 80 to 85. Even 80 is enough. 80 to 80% also is enough. 80 to 85 attempts at close to 80% accuracy means that you will clear the exam. You don't need 100% accuracy. You don't need 100% attempt. So let's write these things down. Accuracy, attempts. Right? 100% accuracy is not required. 100% attempts is not required. What you need is 80% accuracy and 80% attempts. This is our 80% rule of prelims exam. Right? 80 questions or close to 80 questions. We'll discuss how to decide exactly number of questions. Right? And you will clear the exam with close to 115 marks. Right? Now, this is easy to say, but how do you get 115 marks, and how do you attempt 80 questions, and how do you maintain 80% accuracy? That is the tough part, right? That is where elimination strategy will come in, because 80 questions will not be known to you. And why accuracy of 80%? Why not 100%? Because you are a bit unsure about some things. That is where the elimination strategy will come and help you in achieving at least an 80% accuracy rate. So because the extra attempts that you're making, maybe around 30 something you'll be able to know, but the rest you're making based on some guesswork, some strategy. That is where elimination strategy comes, right? So you will not get the 115 marks only from your knowledge. You have to use logic, you have to be smart, you have to use strategy, right? And you have to think on your feet there. Then only you'll get 115 marks, which is the golden cutoff. Okay, now to understand how to achieve this, we are going to classify the type of questions in UPSC and see what strategy to use where. Okay, so first type of question or category A, right? I'll call it the hooray questions. Hooray means you're happy. Wow, this question came. I'm so happy this question came, right? So a lot of such questions will come. So these are the questions you are knowing properly. You know the answer. So these are the hooray questions or category A, we'll call them. Here, you know the answer. You know the answer of the question, right? Here, you basically have two things. You understood question plus you understood the options. So UQ means understood question, UO means understood options. So this is a perfect question for you, right? And remember, in UPSC, normally the options are slightly tougher. So don't be too happy by seeing the questions only. Have this hooray moment only after seeing the options also. If both are fine only, you say, okay, this is category A. Okay. Now, sometimes questions look tough. When questions look very tough, normally the options are easy. But when questions look very easy, sometimes options can be tough. But if both question and options are easy, it is category A question. Okay. But be careful, but don't be too careful also, because don't overthink it. If it's a simple, straightforward question, give a simple, straightforward answer and move on. Okay. Now, how many questions will come like this kind of questions? The good news for all of you is that 20 to 25 questions in UPSC exam are going to be these easy questions, right? When I say easy questions, it's only for people who studied, okay? If you haven't studied, these are not easy questions. But for people who have studied the standard sources, people who have completed the whole of tablet, you will be able to answer these questions well. Study includes revision. If you have studied and revised well, 20 to 25 questions are there for your taking, right? It is easy for a well-prepared student. Okay. Now these questions, you have to mark your questions. Okay. In the question paper, you have to mark your questions based on what category they fall into, so that you remember. Later on, when you see the question paper again, you will be able to understand. So these questions you'll mark with a tick mark. So if question number 1 is the easy question, you'll mark as a tick mark, and you'll immediately write the answer also. Don't wait for these questions. Immediately mark the answer. Move on. Don't think too much about these. So around 3 to 4 questions from each area will come like this, and 20 to 25 questions will be easy questions. Now this is the most important part of your question paper. This full 25 questions, the full 20 questions you have to get. 100% accuracy you have to get here, because UPSC is not about getting the tough questions right. UPSC is about getting the right easy questions right. So this is where all your effort of 6 months, 8 months that you're preparing is going to help you. Because all the easy questions which you're supposed to get right, you should get right. Okay. because this will mean 40 to 50 marks just from the easy questions. No strategy required, nothing required except just pure studying and revision of all the basics. You will get 40 to 50 marks just like that. Full thing you should collect, full 50 or 40 marks. There will be a slight variation every year, right? And this will come from a basic NCERT reading, your tablet and newspaper. Nothing else is required to get this full 40-50 marks. Okay, now what you should do is you quickly scan through the whole question paper, identify all the easy questions, quickly mark them as tick, and then you answer those questions. So what will happen is that in the first half an hour, maybe you will finish off these questions. Maybe even in the first 20 minutes, you will finish off all the easy questions. And you will have this good feeling of around having 50 marks in the bag. You already have 50 marks. Then it becomes so much easier to attempt the tougher questions. Now, when you're scanning the paper, you will see some tough questions also. Ignore them. Don't worry about them. We are in a gold mining quest. We are going to mine for all the easy questions first. We're going to answer them first and then only look at the tough questions. Right? Now, I'll give you a few examples of what I mean by very easy questions so that you understand. Right? Last year's prelims. So, DigiLocker, sometimes seen in news. This sometimes seen in news is a very, very common terminology in UPSC. Very easy questions will have the sometimes seen in news. All they are asking is, do you at least know what it is, right? So DigiLocker, all of us should be knowing. If you don't know now, you should know before the exam because it's a very, very important part of what the government is trying to do, right? It's under Digital India program. Everybody should know. When I say should know, that means if you're prepared, you'll know. If you're not prepared, it's a tough question only. Everything in UPSC is a tough question if you're not prepared. But if you are prepared, this becomes an easy, straightforward question. No, a person who's prepared well will not spend more than like 10-15 seconds on this question. Just enough to read, mark the answer, move on. It allows you to access your e-documents respectively from your physical location. So basically, you can download e-documents and it's stored by the Government of India. That is DigiLocker or Digital Documents Locker if you want to expand it out. So answer becomes obviously 1 and 2 and answer is C. Simple. So this is one example of a very, very easy question. Another example I want to show you. Indian National Congress split in 1907. The Surat split, right? The Surat split is a key part of the history syllabus. You're supposed to know it very, very clearly. And you know it is because of extremists and moderates. Hardly anything else is required to be read in this. The question is straightforward. Mark the answer, move on. Right? So another simple question, but only if you have studied. If you haven't studied it, then you won't get it. But this is part of the syllabus. It's taught by everybody, so you should know it. That's the meaning of an easy question. Another example. The Parliament of India, when can it modify the state list? Right? Legislate on the state list. Again, very, very simple question. Elimination of this I show you later, but this is a basic part of the constitution. You should be knowing this. You should have studied this much polity. So it becomes a very simple question. Mark the answer, move on. So these are all category A questions. The moment you see it, you're so happy, right? In the context of in the news again, the moment you hear in the news, it's a pakka easy question, right? So amber box, blue box, green box, where have you heard? If you have studied even basics of economics, etc., you will know it's part of WTO. Answer is clear, move on, right? So these are very, very easy hooray questions. So the moment you see these questions, you should have a smile on your face, right? And answer the question, move on. Okay, one more. Which was recently added to IMF's SDR. Again, very, very popular in the news at that time. Renminbi, Chinese currency was added. So again, mark, move on. There's nothing to think about, hardly a few seconds for these questions. Very, very quickly, you'll finish these questions off, right? Okay, so these are some of the easy questions. The important thing is, for these questions, you have to have 100% accuracy. Even one question you get wrong in the easy category is going to hurt you like so much. You're going to cry for that. So be very careful, study well or the entire syllabus properly so that these 25 questions are fully in your pocket. 100% accuracy is your goal here. So when you write your prelims, test series, etc., you should identify the easy questions and you should be very, very strict on yourself if you're not getting 100% accuracy in the easy questions. Now in the answer key, we also let you know if the question is easy, difficult, moderate, etc. So you should also have a look at that. If you're getting easy questions wrong, that is an unpardonable sin in UPSC. You should not do that. Okay. Now category B are the nice but wait questions. You feel it's nice, but you're like, oh my god, okay, something is wrong with this question. Not fully sure, right? These are nice but wait questions or category B, right? Here the concept you know, right? But the options not so much, right? So here it is understand question, right? Plus not sure about options. You are You know the question, you know the concept, that you know what they're asking, but the option seems to be a bit tricky, right? This is the nice but wait questions. I know, but I'm not too sure kind of questions. Okay. Now here you can do a bit of eliminating. So first time elimination comes is when you're not sure. Elimination is only required if you're not sure. Okay. We'll talk about elimination strategy later. Okay. And if you know the concept for sure, at least 2 options will get eliminated for sure. At least 2 options for sure will get eliminated, and even 3 will most likely they not get eliminated in these questions because concept is known to you. So you know what connections are there between options and between the option and the question. We'll come to elimination strategy a bit later after we discuss the types. Okay, now in this category, around 85 to 90% accuracy you have to maintain. That means you have to be pretty solid in these questions also, even if the options are a bit tricky. Okay, almost 30 questions in UPSC will come in this category, right? This is also still classified as easy only. It's medium difficulty questions. It's not very difficult, right? Medium, not even medium, slightly less than medium, easy to medium difficulty questions, right? Now, if you attempt full 30 questions, here every single question I want you to attempt. If you know the concept, don't leave the question. I mean, that is very bad. That means you don't actually know the question. That is not category B then. You should be honest with yourself. In category B, questions around 30 questions will come, and if you have 85% accuracy, then you will get around 25 right and around 4 wrong. That means 50 minus, 25 right and 5 wrong, 50 minus 4, around 46 marks you will get from there. Correct? That is if you maintain 85% accuracy. How you will maintain, that is part of elimination strategy also, about understanding and studying properly. It's part of revision also, right? So by the time we finish, so category A and B are our 100% attempt categories. In these 2 categories, I want you to attempt all questions, right? So approximately how many questions are coming from these 2 categories? Only around 50 to 55 questions are going to come from these 2 categories, which means almost half the paper is in the easy to medium easy category, which is why I said earlier also, UPSC's exam is about getting maximum marks from easy questions, not running behind tough questions. Okay. So by the time you finish category A and B only, you will have close to 85 to 90 marks. Right. Category A will take you approximately 30 minutes to finish off. Right. 20 to 30 minutes to finish off. Category B will take you almost 40 minutes to finish off because it will think a bit more. But you still have enough time left. Right. You have plenty of time left because not even 1 hour is, only around 1 hour is over by now. Even less, sometimes even in 1 hour you'll finish off. But at the end of 1 hour, you already have around 90 marks in your pocket. Now how much less marks is left? Only 25 marks more is left. Right. That is where you have to focus on after that. And what is the accuracy till now? If you look at it, till now, by the time you finished around 55 questions, you are maintaining a 90% accuracy across category A and B, right? Which is not bad at all. It's pretty good. Which means you have now option, because now it's going to come down, because as the questions become difficult, your accuracy will come down. Okay. So now comes the tougher questions and the riskier part. You have got around 90 marks, maybe 80 to 90 marks you already achieved, but now you have to take some risk to get to 115 marks, right? Because without that risk, you will not be able to clear, right? So some people might tell you just go write what you know and come back. No, if you write what you know and come back, you will not clear the exam. You have to go beyond that also. Now, if you have prepared really well, category A and B itself will expand a bit. You will know more questions, so you know a bit more. So you might even get almost 100 marks only from category A and B. That depends on how well you are prepared. A person who is not prepared at all, uska category A and B will only give him 20 marks. A person who is prepared medium well, not so well, etc. might get only 50 marks. But a person who is prepared for proper 6 to 8 months and prepared properly and studied everything properly, completed the whole tab, revised the whole tab, etc. will get almost 90 marks. But somebody who has been preparing for maybe 2 years, etc. might even get 100 marks in the A-B category itself. Right? So again, I'm repeating, A and B is vital because these are the easy questions, and you crack UPSC with easy questions, not with tough questions. Again and again, I want to repeat the same thing. Right? Now comes category C. Right? These are the kahi suna hai questions, which means I've heard it somewhere. I mean, I'm kind of familiar with it. Right? These are kahi suna hai questions. Right? Here question sounds familiar, right? So not sure about question, right? Sounds familiar, right? And not sure about options, but some options sounds familiar. Okay. So these I wanted to mark as question mark. Category B one more thing. Category B questions, please mark as star. Okay. Category C questions, please mark as question mark. Now, almost 30 questions will come from this, and this is where a lot of students lose marks and lose heart, and actually get a lot of negative marks, etc. Because these are slightly tough questions. These are the medium difficulty questions, medium to hard. They're actually moving towards hard, right? Here you have to eliminate options. Only then you can get it right. Okay. Now imagine there are 4 options A, B, C, D. If you are able to eliminate 2 options, now what is the probability of getting it right? You have 50% chance, right? If you're able to eliminate only one option, what is your probability of getting it right? You have only a 33% chance of getting it right. So inside category C, okay, you should only attempt those questions first, of which you eliminate at least 2 options. If you eliminate 2 options, only attempt it, which means there's a 50% chance of getting it right. And sometimes you'll be able to eliminate 3 options. In that case, the answer becomes pretty much more obvious. So out of this around 30 questions, some 5 questions you might be able to eliminate 3 options. So you should attempt them. Okay. You might still get some of them wrong because you eliminated wrongly, etc. Around 10 questions, you might be able to eliminate around 2 options. This is not, it won't always happen like this, but somewhere in this range it will be. In this case also you should attempt it. And the rest of the questions might be a bit more difficult. You might be able to eliminate only one option, the rest 15 questions. Or the numbers might vary a bit, right? So what has happened? We have attempted around 15 questions from this category. Okay. Now what happens? How much will you get out of this? If you hit 15 questions, this then you have only 50% accuracy. Here you might have around 80% accuracy, because you're still eliminating options, you're not absolutely sure about it, right? So here, quick calculation if you do. So this will be 5 to 10 and this will be around 10 to 15 kind of numbers, and this will be 10 to 15 or 5 to 15. Okay, so the range varies a bit, but in the end what will happen is you would have attempted around 20 to 15 questions, okay, out of which you should be getting around 13 right in that range. So in the end around 23 marks you should end up getting out of this, right? So close to 20 marks should be your aim from category C. So this is something I cannot give you exact numbers on. Around 20 marks if you get out of category C, then you are pretty much safe. Why do I say that? Because from category A plus B, you would have got around 90 marks. Correct? If from category C you can get around 15 to 20 marks, then you're already in the 105 to 110 range. You've already almost cleared the cutoff, right? We have not even reached the very tough questions yet. Category C is you can kind of eliminate the options kind of questions, and we'll discuss how to eliminate a bit later. But if you reach till this level, you're already pretty safe. Okay, only another 10 marks might be needed after this to get the 115 range. So A, easy, B, easy medium, and C, medium. Just by attempting these 3, we have gotten close to 105 marks. Now all we need is 10 marks more, right? How many questions have been attempted till now? Close to around 70 has been attempted till now. We have 30 questions left, out of which you get only 10 marks. So this is definitely possible. So you should have this clarity in your mind while you're writing the exam, right? That I have attempted how many questions and how many questions am I getting it right and how much mark am I earning. Because the moment you're coming close to 100, it should be very clear, because a lot of students, what they do is they over attempt questions and they start getting negative marks. Okay, so we only need 5 more right answers to crack the exam at this point. Okay, now comes category D. So this is the not much clue questions. I mean, you see the question and you're like, not much clue. Question is almost out of syllabus. Okay, so don't know question, and option seems a bit like known stuff. If option is also completely unknown, then it becomes a different category, right? So options, bit known, but still don't know options also, but a bit known. Okay, these I want you to mark as hash. Around 10 questions only will be this difficult in UPSC exam. You won't get a lot of such tough questions, even though people are always scared of these questions. You will not have too many of these questions in UPSC exam. Only around 10. Okay. So that is a good news, right? The easy and medium questions take up most of the space. Only around 10 questions are left in this category. 10 to 15 maybe. If you're unlucky in that year, or a bit tougher question paper, etc., this will change a bit. Okay. Out of this 10, around 1 to 2 questions you will get in which you can eliminate 3 options somehow. Right? We'll discuss how to eliminate options. But if 3 options get eliminated, then you should get around 4 marks there. Sometimes you might get something wrong also, but around 4 marks from that you will get. And around 5 to 6 questions you should be able to get in which you will eliminate 2 options. So again, another 4 marks there, right? Approximately 4 marks. So you already got another 8 marks from here. Okay. So by the time we finish this, we haven't even gone to those questions in which we are eliminating only 1 option, etc. That is separate. Another 5-6 questions are still left. But already what has happened? We have 105 earlier plus 8. We have hit around 130. If you got 110 earlier, you would have hit around 118. So you already cleared the cutoff without taking much risk. Only bit of risk you've taken by eliminating a bit of options here and there. But you already hit 180. Right? Very close to safe cutoff. Now, if you're close to 110, 113, etc., don't take much more risk. You're pretty sure of clearing. But if you felt the exam was very, very easy, right? And you felt, I haven't prepared much, exam is very easy, then only there's a slight chance that the cutoff might increase that year. But cutoff will never increase by 5-10 marks. It might increase only by 2-3 marks. So you can attempt another 5 marks worth of questions. That is it. So by the end of category D, we have attempted around 75 questions at almost 80% accuracy, and we should be very close to 110 to 115 by the end of this. So by the time we reach 75 questions itself, we have attained very close to a safe cutoff. Okay, now if all went well, you might even have achieved 115. You can put down your pen. Don't try to get much more marks than that. Don't take risk unnecessarily in the exam hall, right? Because I know students who have done that and then they got negative marks and it becomes a big, big disappointment. Okay, now even if you're 100 plus, if you didn't reach 115 and you reach 100 plus and the rest of the questions are too tough, stop. Don't try to pure guess, right? Elimination we'll discuss, but don't ever try to pure guess, right? Don't try a few questions and hope to get a few more, etc. It is of no use, right? Especially if one last category we'll discuss now, it's called category F. It is a failed category or no hope category. You have no clue, you don't know what this question is. So if what the questions are left in this category, it's pure tukka or guesswork. You will not get marks there, you'll actually get negative marks only. So even if you're at 100 also and only F is left, you have to stop. Don't attempt anymore. Okay? Because cutoff might actually be low that year, you'll still have a hope of clearing. But there's no point in dragging down your marks. Okay, now we have basically, what have we done? We have attempted the very easy ones, category A. We attempted the B ones in which we have a good understanding and we eliminated options and tried to get it, either 3 or 2. We attempted category C by eliminating 3 or 2. And in category D also we eliminated 3 and 2 ones. Okay. Now if you still have only at 110 or 100 range and you have one more chance left, one more option left, which is that there are some questions in which you eliminated only one option. Here you have only a 33% chance of getting the answer right. But you might have to look at it. So you'll have to go back to category C in which you left some questions which you have marked as question mark, and category D which you marked as hash mark. Go back to those questions, right? And check for those questions you left. So C had around 10 such questions left. D had around 5 such questions left. So we have 15 questions in which you have eliminated at least one option. Okay, now only 33% accuracy here. Okay, I want you to understand this very closely. How many of these should you attempt? Suppose you attempt all 15 questions at 33% accuracy, because basically it's probability, right? You're only guessing there. You'll only get 5 right and you'll get 10 wrong, which means in the end you'll only get 4 marks out of attempting 15 questions. That is not enough. Correct? So you should not be in a situation in which you depend on these questions to get your marks, because majority will be wrong answers, minority will be right answers, because that is a law of probability there. Okay. So once you are in this situation, it becomes tough. So the idea is from A, B itself, you should get maximum number of marks. And then from those questions in which you can eliminate 3 options or 2 options, you should be able to get maximum number of marks. You should not go into one option territory, because if you reach there, it becomes tough for you. Okay. So if you attempt all 15 questions, you have attempted close to 90 questions in the exam hall with only 77% accuracy. You would have ended up with almost around 115 again. So it is still okay, but as you start experimenting here, your accuracy might start dropping a bit more, right? You might actually lose marks also. But anybody who's attempting 100 questions, etc., is actually bringing down their marks. Don't attempt 100% questions. Try to stop at 80. If you're really not sure and you want to get a few more marks, go to 85, 90, etc. But don't try to go beyond 90, because it will become pure guesswork. Okay, so the main point is, a lot of people think elimination will help them clear. Idea is elimination will help you, but elimination will only get you that extra 20 marks. All the other marks are going to come from your studies, right? You have to study well enough to get the marks without needing too much elimination, and attempt only if you can eliminate at least 2 options. Otherwise, don't attempt. Okay, worst case 1, but only in a very bad situation. Okay. So as I told earlier, we have category F questions. These are the no hope or runaway questions. These I wanted to mark as cross, which you're going to leave. Around 10 questions will come like this, right? Which is impossible to get kind of questions. I'll show you some of these questions later when we discuss the question paper. Here, it's all 4 options are open. You have a 25% chance of success in these questions, because it could be any of these and you're marking 25% chance of getting it right. So if you attempt all 10, you'll get 2 right and 8 wrong, which means you'll get around -2 or -1.33 negative marks. So you'll be negative territory. So there's no point doing anything here, because only luck. So by luck, you might get 1 positive mark, but more probability is that you'll get negative marks only here. So if it's this kind of question, please leave it. You should be very clear which question to leave. UPSC success also depends on leaving the right questions, not just on attempting everything. So even if one option can be eliminated, then you have a positive chance. But if all 4 are still there, you have negative chance. You're going to get negative marks. Okay. Now you should go into this category and try your luck only if you have less than 90 marks by the time you reach here. If you have less than 90 marks, try your luck a bit, right? But otherwise, don't go into this. If you have more than 90 marks, there's a better chance you clear with 90 than you'll get marks from here. That is how it works. Okay. So if you are in this situation, you have to pray and mark and hope you get a few marks and hope to get it to 95 or something. Okay. Now we are going to talk about elimination. I'm just going to show you a few questions to show you how we eliminate questions, etc. Okay, it's not a very long session, so I'm not going to discuss a lot of questions. I'm just going to give you a representative sample. Elimination cannot be applied everywhere. First thing, don't think of every question as elimination question. Okay, but it can be applied to enough questions to make a difference. If you can get the 20 to 30 to 40 marks extra, right? So almost close to 80 marks you should get from without elimination. You should get without much elimination, or at least 70-80 marks you get without elimination. The rest 30-40 marks you can try to get from eliminating, right? And then you can clear the exam easily. Now, before we get into elimination, we have seen these different categories, right? A, B, C, D, and F. F is the separate category. Now, a skill you have to develop is that when you see a question, you should know yourself well and you should know the topic well to know where it falls, which category it falls into. This is a skill you can develop only by test series. So that's why I asked you to put marks for each of these, right? A is tick, B is star, C is question mark, D is hash, and F is cross. Now onwards, every test series paper you take, right? start marking your answers like this, right? Start realizing your capability and where you fall. And in each category, try to see how much accuracy percentage you're getting. If you think it's A category, you should get 100% accuracy in that. And always mark the category before checking the answers, okay? In B category, you should at least get 90% accuracy, 80 to 90% accuracy. In C category, you should get 80% accuracy. In D, around 50 to 60% will still do it. In F, it's 25%. You can't do anything there. You can't get more than that, right? So test series is very, very important here, right? You will take a lot of test series, right? And first, when you're writing the answer, mark like this. Apply strategy. Try to be very aware of how much marks you're getting as you go through the paper. You have enough time in UPSC. Time is not a constraint at all in paper 1. In paper 2, time is a bit of a constraint. In paper 1, time is not a constraint at all. So you have enough time. So mark this. Then afterwards, check the answer and understand your accuracy percentages and try to improve your accuracy percentages, or at least be very clear where you stand, because in the exam hall you can't just guess these things, and this will be individual to each person. I'm putting these numbers here, these ideal numbers, okay? And later, after that, go through solutions in detail, understand why you got something right, etc. And if some options, always look at every single option in your paper, in your test series paper, understand each option in detail, because some of these options might come as questions later. So utilize your test series properly in this sense, okay? Now, normally, after you finish the test, I want you to spend at least 2 to 3 hours doing this work, analyzing the paper, because that is where real learning is going to happen. Just taking the test series is not enough. And also, some of the marks you get in test series might be because of pure guesswork. And guesswork would have happened here. Now, you should know whether it was guesswork or proper. You should know in each question how many options you eliminated, whether it's 4 option, 3 option, 2 option. That should be very clear. How do you know that? Suppose this is a question. These are the options, A, B, C, D. 3 options are there. When you're writing the answer, mark like this. These 3 got eliminated. Later, when you analyze your paper, you will know that, okay, these 3 I had eliminated. What if C was the answer? Then you have to think, why did I eliminate this? This is how automatically your strategy will improve. There is no global strategy that I can give you for this. By your hard work, your own strategy is going to come. I can only give you some basic guidelines, nothing beyond that. Okay? So there is an element of intelligent guessing involved here, in which if you eliminate 2 and then among the next 2 you have to look at what sounds more right, etc. So that is all things that will come from having experience of taking a lot of tests. If you take like 1000 tests, 1000 plus questions have been covered by you, so many questions are covered by you, then you start realizing when the question is right or wrong. Okay. So I want to give you a quick example of this. Okay. In 2012 UPSC Prelims, there was a question. Okay. It said, consider the following. 1. Black-necked crane. 2. Cheetah. 3. Flying squirrel. Squirrel. 4. Snow leopard. My handwriting is a bit bad. Okay. Which of the following is naturally found in India? That was the question. In India. Okay. Options were A, 1, 2, 3, B, 1, 3, 4, C, 2, 4, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you might think this is a tough question. Now where should this go? Should this go into category A, B, C and D? Where should it go? Now in my opinion, because you don't know really where it falls, etc., this is a category D question. It becomes a hash mark question. However, when you later come to it and start eliminating options, right, you will find that cheetah is not an Indian animal. This is something you'll study in your ecology classes. Now, if cheetah is not an Indian animal, right, and you know snow leopard is an Indian animal, this is again something you should be aware of, because enough studies has been done. Occasionally things come about snow leopard in India, etc. So if you know these 2 things, that means your option should not have 2 and should have 4. Okay. Now which are the questions which does not have 2? There is only one option like that. Now just to clarify, it should have 4 also. It has 4. Right. So if it satisfies both conditions, then this becomes your answer. So UPSC does not want you to know every single species in India, etc. UPSC was just testing if you know that cheetah is not in India and snow leopard is in India. With that much knowledge, you can still get the answer right. Okay, just an example I wanted to give to you. Okay, so we are going to discuss bit of elimination strategy now. Now please understand, these are not cheat codes or something that I'm giving you. Okay, aim is not to help you clear without knowing anything, but if you have given proper preparation, this will help you clear. Okay. Again, I want to repeat, it is not elimination strategy that will help you clear, it is revision strategy that will help you clear. Revision will get you close to 70 to 80 marks, elimination will get you the 20 extra, which will help you clear the cutoff. Okay, elimination will only help the well-prepared person. Okay, only elimination will never help, no matter whatever claims you have heard anywhere, only elimination strategy is not going to help. So if you're a master of elimination, you're going to clear not going to clear UPSC exam. Okay. So now let us take last year's paper. Okay, so this is our website only. We have given detailed analysis of some questions here. Okay. So I'm just going to go through these questions and show to you certain things. Okay, so I hope you can read it. Atal Pension Yojana. Right. Now, about Adult Pension Yojana, which of the following statements are correct? That is the question. Right. Now, if you go through the options quickly, you will find that. One second, just hold on. Small issue here. You will find that which category should you first of all classify this into? Adult Pension Yojana. If you have studied this well, again, a lot depends on how well you have studied. Adult Pension Yojana has been in the news, it's an important one also. Okay, if you have studied it well, it can even be a category A question for you. But because the options are a bit tricky, nobody will remember this much about a scheme, etc. Okay, so then it might become a bit difficult. So I would suggest this is a category B question in which you are familiar but not that familiar. So you might have to eliminate a bit. Now if you look at it, if you look at the first option here, it's a minimum guaranteed pension scheme mainly targeted unorganized sector workers. Sounds reasonable. Only one member of family can join the scheme. Not sure. Some same amount of pension is guaranteed for spouse for life after subscriber's death. Now, assume you don't know anything about Adult Pension Yojana and you have to make an educated guess. You might be able to say that only one member of a family getting the scheme does not sound right. Correct? It does not sound very right. Government of India would not allow a scheme like that. So you would say 2 is not correct. So you can eliminate 2 in this. Suppose you eliminate 2 in this. Then what happens? Then look at the options. Is there any option without 2? We have 2 options without 2. Correct. One only A option and C option 1 and 3 only. Right. Now here you have to take an educated guess between A and C. Right. If you know the scheme, then you will get the answer much better. But here you have 2 options left. You take an educated guess, and more likely than not, right, it is going to be given to spouse also after subscriber's death. Right. Pension, etc., pension insurance, etc., is normally always given to spouse also after death of a person to dependent. So normally that is the case. So based on that logic, you will come up with the answer that most likely 1 and 3 is correct. And of course, the answer is C only. So it becomes correct. Okay. Now let's look at our next question. Okay, answer is shown. That doesn't matter. Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, right? Often appears in the news. The moment you have in the news, that means it's category A question. You should be knowing that RCEP was very famous. You should be knowing if you're prepared well. So automatically the answer is very clear. It's a category A question. But if you have to eliminate, you can at least eliminate G20, right? SCO you can eliminate, and you can think it might be Asian and it might be SARC, because these are 2 regional groupings, SARC and Asian. Now among these 2, you should be knowing it's Asian. So the answer becomes B, right? Beyond that, you can't eliminate. You should be knowing it's Asian. All you can think of is which of the following are regional in nature. Okay. Okay. Next question. Coming to the next question. Okay. The Bureau of Energy Efficiency Star label is found on which of the following? Ceiling fans, electric geysers, tubular fluorescent lamps, etc. So you have 4 options here: 1 and 2, 3, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Now logic tells us that it should be there on all of these. Now fans, if you've seen the advertisement, etc., you know star rating is there. In geysers, you would have seen the label. If you have a geyser at home, you would have seen the label and you would know star rating is there. And in fluorescent lamps also normally star rating is there. But here I want to introduce you to a different concept, right? Which is again told by almost any strategy session on elimination. Normally all of the above, or if all options 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. correct kind of answers, there's a high probability that they're correct. Okay, so this is commonly told by all teachers. All of the above questions, all of the above is quite often right. Okay, whereas normally none of the above is not so often right. So if all of the above is there, you should have a slight tendency to move towards all of the above. I'm not saying always all of the above will be right, but there's a possibility that's more right, especially in these kind of cases where all of them sound right. So you should go with 1, 2 and 3. Okay, anyway, you know geyser has to be there, right? So eliminate options in which 2 is not there, right? So B is anyway gone. Okay, if B is gone and you know ceiling fan also should be there, then 1 and 2 should be there, right? And then only A and D is left, and most likely it's all 3. So we'll go with all 3, and the answer is D only. Okay, the full explanation is given here if you want to go through, and this is what I said. You have to go through explanation, etc. after a test to understand properly, and you should also understand why that question came. Okay. India is an important member of International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. Now here the key word is experimental, something experimental happening. Okay. Now if this experiment succeeds, what is the immediate advantage for India is the question. Okay. Now experiment has to be something new. Okay. Now if you look at the options, satellite navigation has no connection, right? Now, if you know this question well, it would be a category B question or a category A question, depending on how well you know it. If you have even studied about thermonuclear experimental reactor, it's a category A question. Okay, it's ideally a category A question for you because it's a very, very straightforward question. But if not, if it's a category B question for you, you can still get the answer right. Satellite navigation option B eliminated. It can build fusion reactors for power generation. Now you should know the difference between nuclear fusion and nuclear fission, right? Nuclear fission is when you separate the conventional form of nuclear energy. Nuclear fusion is when you try to combine and create energy. It's a new experimental kind of form. So if you look at the options, which of the following are experimental in nature? Improving efficiency, etc. is not very experimental. That is something that's already there. So option C also most likely out. So answer has to be between thorium in place of uranium and fusion reaction. The thorium in place of uranium, India is already being able to use. It's already a known technology. We can only improve efficiency there, right? So the answer most likely is D because it's more experimental in nature. And if you know about ITER, then you know it's about fusion reaction. So that becomes the answer. Okay. So again, we are eliminating a few options only and then moving on from that. Now here we have a category D question. Okay. Category D question means it's a tough question. Okay. Now Erapati land revenue, which is you have to match the following, right? Now if you have studied your ancient history properly, you might know at least one of these things. But chances are very less you will know all 3. Right? So it becomes a category D question for sure. Right? If you try to eliminate also, most likely you won't get to eliminate much in this. So it's either a category D or a category F question. It's most likely a question you should be leaving if you're not absolutely sure of it. Right? But if you know Gatikas, if you've studied, if you're a history optional student, etc., then it becomes a category A or B question for you. But for most people, it will be a category D or F question. It's a bit tough for them. But if you studied NCERT, it comes from NCERT only, and if you study it properly and you remember it, it can become an A or B question. And that is where your studying and revision and effectiveness comes in. That is where the difference will come. If you can get a category D question for you to be category A, that's a huge advantage for you. But there is a limitation on how much we can remember. There's a limitation on how much we can study. So don't invest too much time on factual questions like this, right? But at the same time, understand such questions come. So when you see it, try to make good notes and try to remember them. Okay. Now, 6th question. The International Solar Alliance was launched at the United Nations Climate Change Conference in 2015. Okay. Now, you might know what is International Solar Alliance, but you might not know when it's launched, etc. But It is within 1 year. 2016 this question came, right? 2016 this question came, and 2015 is what is written here. So the high probability of that happening. The alliance includes all countries of the United Nations. So here the word all the countries is there, and that brings me to another principle. First principle is this, right? All of the above, etc. Is that the chance of it becoming correct. Second is that whenever you have these absolute statements, right? Every single one, all of them. If any statement includes these words like all and each and every one, every single one, etc., the chances of it being correct is very low. Okay, because if you look at it, United Nations has so many countries, right? Would every single country be part of an international solar alliance? Will it be a global movement? Chances are very less. At least 1 or 2 countries will be out of it, right? So we will say 2 is out. If 2 is out, we have to look at those options which does not include 2, right? The options which does not include 2 are only A and D. Okay, you have to choose between A and D. If you look at A and D, there is a good chance that it happened in the climate change conference in 2015. Unless it is not in 2015, etc., this is where it would happen. So an educated guess between A and D should give you D as the answer, and that is actually the sorry. An educated guess between these two might give you D as the answer, but answer could also be A. So here there is a 50% probability of getting it right? So even I got the answer wrong right now in the discussion itself. So there could have been a chance of it happening, but if you look at the explanation, it was unveiled at the Paris Climate Summit, right? Not at the United Nations Climate Change Conference of 2015, etc. So answer becomes A. So here you have eliminated 2 options, and then there's a 50% chance of getting it right. You might get it right, you might not get it right, but you have to buffer for that as we discussed in the strategy originally. Okay, now comes the next one. European Stability Mechanism. This is category A for sure, because it's such a simple question, very easy question. You should be getting it right. But worst case, it might become category B because options are a bit tricky for you. So let's look at the options. Now the word stability, if you have studied economy properly, is normally always related to economy. Stability is always related to economy and not other things. So about refugees, etc., it is happening in Europe, but it's not about stability, because stability is normally used in economics. And again, it's in the news kind of question, so it automatically becomes an easy question, right? Financial assistance potential is there because it's economy related. Trade, yeah, maybe, it was again economy related. Conflicts arising among member countries, chances are less, there is no economy relation. So it has to be between B and C. Now, if you know even a bit about EU, etc., you will know the answer is B, and we can move on from that. So it becomes a category A question, ideally, worst case category B, but you should have studied these things because it's core part of the syllabus. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is advantage or advantages of practicing drip irrigation? Okay. Reduction of weed, reduction of soil salinity, reduction of soil erosion. Now here one thing is for sure. Drip irrigation leads to reduction in soil erosion. Right? This is part of NCERT, etc. So it's discussed in detail that drip irrigation causes less erosion. So 3 should be there in your answer. So let's look at the options in which 3 is there. D is out. None of the above is not correct because 3 is correct. 1 and 3 only is an option. 3 only is an option. 1 and 2 only is an option. Okay. Now 3 only, chances are again less. Right? Because it might also help in one of these things. Now, reduction of weed, if you studied about drip irrigation, you will know that the weed also comes because of 2 things. One is that extra water and the extra fertilizer is going into the areas around the plant, and there the weed starts growing. But in drip irrigation, what happens? Both fertilizer as well as the water is given directly to the root of the plant. So less water and fertilizer is available for weeds to grow with. So if you use that logic, reduction of weed is also a good part of this. Right? So the answer most likely is C, 1 and 3 only. So which category should this be? It should be B category, because it's actually not a very straightforward question. You know drip irrigation very well. You know soil erosion, etc. very well. But still slightly tricky. You have to think about it. So it becomes category B question. Right? But answer is straightforward in the end. You should be able to get it right. Okay. We'll look at one more question now. DigiLocker question we already saw, right? So it's a straightforward A category question. There's nothing much to eliminate, etc. in this, except that, yes, your E document should be there. That is what DigiLocker is about. 2 should be included in it. And 2 is included in B and C, and among B and C, most likely it is part of Digital India program also. The answer becomes C. So nothing much to discuss in a straightforward question like that. We have to move on. Interlinking of which of the following rivers was undertaken? Now this is a question which you either know or you don't know. Right? There is not much logic also you can put into it, because river interlinking, anything can happen. So here it's either a category A or a category B question, or it's all the way back to a category D or F question. You should leave it alone. So if you have followed the news properly, and river interlinking is an important part of UPSC syllabus. It's an important part of UPSC syllabus. A lot of news has been there. It's a whole section itself. So you would know the answer is B, Godavari and Krishna. Right? Air quality index also has been in the news a lot. So I would ideally classify question 11 also as a category A question. And it's a very, very straightforward, easy question also. One student has asked me a question: if we know only 2 options correctly, how can we decide among the rest 2 options which are left, right? There is no option. There is no way. If you have eliminated only 2 options, you have to directly guess or make an intelligent guess. You have only a 50% chance of getting it right. This I told you earlier also, right? After 2 are eliminated, then nothing much can be done. Okay. If 3 somehow you can eliminate, then you are okay. Things are fine. Okay. Another student has asked an important question: how do we apply this in online test series? Right? I'm asking you to mark the questions, etc. Right? In online test series, how do you implement this? Simple way: keep a sheet with you, write full 1 to 100. Just write 1 to 100 numbers in the sheet and keep before the exam itself. And then as you are attempting, just write there, tick or cross or star or hash, etc. And then you can cross verify later. Okay. So question 11. In the cities of a country, which among the following gases are normally considered as part of the air quality index? Now here I want to bring you to the third principle. Always read the question carefully, okay, and see for if there is a word not inside it, not part of, is part of, etc. Because this will sometimes trick you, okay. So here it is part of, no, okay. So which of the following is considered? So now, if you look at it, methane is toxic at higher levels, sulfur dioxide is toxic at higher level, carbon monoxide is toxic at higher level. But carbon dioxide is a normal part of the air we breathe. It is not something you track as part of air quality, etc. So one cannot be part of your answer. Okay, one should not be part of your answer. So just look at your options to see which are the options in which one is not there. If you look at A, one is there. If you look at B, one is not there. So B is a potential option. C, 1 is there. D, 1 is there. So everything except B gets eliminated and the answer is B. It becomes very easy just because you know carbon dioxide is a normal part of our air. Okay, alternatively, you can look at, you might be for sure knowing sulfur dioxide and carbon monoxide should be there. So options 2 and 3 should be there, in which case you'll be able to eliminate only C. Right? You'll be left with 3 options. But if you know one more important information that carbon dioxide won't be there, then the answer becomes very easy. Okay. Okay, astrostat, again it was in the news, right? So it's an astronomical observatory. Okay, so if you look at the options here, other than USA and Russia, India is the only country to have launched a similar observatory. Now if you look at the principle, absolute statements like only, etc., most likely it is wrong. Chances are less India is the only other country, right? So one will most likely be wrong. Okay, now 2 is a tricky kind of thing. 2000 kg, 1650 kilometers. You are not expected to remember these things. But UPSC a lot of times like to trick you on this. Anyway, let's use the fact of 1 and try to eliminate. So A is gone, C is gone. So the option is between B and D. So there's a 50% probability you have to make an intelligent choice between these two, right? Now if you're not sure about these things, right, on what basis will you say it's correct, right? So you can go for D, that neither is correct. But you might end up with going with B also. So it might be a 50% probability question there. But here the option is D, neither is correct. Okay. Now question 13 is the category F question. You can't do much about it unless you studied it very well. If you studied it very well, it might become an A or B question. But for majority, 90% students, question 13 will be a category F question. So you quickly move on. You might come back to it later. Question 40, again, more or less a category D or F question. Keep moving on because there is not much elimination you can do in that. Important part of knowing these doing test series is also to understand what kind of questions in which you can apply elimination, which kind of questions you cannot apply elimination. Okay, so question 15. Okay, so here it was in the news. Okay, so if you know, well and good, but if you don't know, it automatically becomes again category D or F question. There is nothing much you can do. There is nothing much you can eliminate here, right? How do you decide which state would have butterflies, etc.? There is no logic. Your logic can really apply here. Answer is Maharashtra, but unless you have actually read the news, you wouldn't be able to know it. Okay. One way to eliminate it would have been that look at which are the biodiverse areas. But Arunachal Pradesh is also a biodiverse area. Karnataka is also a biodiverse area because its western ghats is passing through. Maharashtra is also a biodiverse area. Himachal Pradesh is also a biodiverse area. So there is no way to eliminate. So it becomes a tough question for you. Okay. But lucky thing is that soon easy questions will come. 2 tough questions and then the easy question is there again. So you can be happy again. Right. Mangalyaan launched by ISRO. Right. Very, very famous. Everybody should be knowing about this. Right, but it is not a category A question, it becomes a category B question because options are slightly tricky. And this is where you have to be very, very honest with yourself and understand your options very well. Okay, now one is correct for sure. Mars Orbiter Mission, we know it is called Mars Orbiter Mission. So one has to be there in the answer. So which are the options in which one is not there? B is out. B option is eliminated. But A, B, C, D, B option is eliminated. Now 3 are left. India was the second country to have a spacecraft orbit the Mars after USA. Again, a very absolute statement, right? Chances are there, it might not be correct, India being the second country, etc. Made India the only country to be successful in making its spacecraft orbit the Mars in its very first attempt. Now, this was something that was in the news a lot. We were proud about the fact that we were the first country to do that. So, if you are knowing that fact and if you have studied this point, then 1 and 3 has to be there in your option. Right? Whereas 2 you're not sure about, and 2 is an absolute statement. 3 is also an absolute statement, but you have studied it, so absolute statement is correct because you know it. You're not guessing that. So I'm assuming you know 1 and 3 and you don't know 2, and 2 is also an absolute statement, so you can actually say 2 most likely is not correct, right? And you might end up with option C, but there is a possibility you might think 2 is also right and go with option D. So there is a possibility you might end up losing the marks. But you have to make an intelligent guess. You have to take some risk in this kind of situations. But this is a category B question or a category C question if you really don't know much about it. If you know 1 and 3, then it's a category B question. Bit of thinking, you get the right answer, you move on. 100% accuracy. But if you don't know 3 also, then it becomes a category C question. Then you have much less chance of getting it right. So again, that's why I said revising your knowledge base is what is going to help you eliminate also. It is not without studying that you can eliminate to get marks. Okay. So one final question we'll pick up now. After that, we'll move on. This we already saw. And it's a category A question. You're supposed to know it. It's basic part of history. This much knowledge you should be having. There is nothing to discuss in this question. So we move on from this also. Okay, category 18. Sorry, question 18. So Stafford Cripps envisaged this after Second World War. Right? India should be granted complete independence, which is anyway part of the movement itself. India should be partitioned into 2, which was anyway known. Cripps was not supposed to come and do much about that. India should be made a republic. Again, it was part of the overall discussion. The dominion status was where Cripps had given his input. So by elimination also you can get it, but Stafford Cripps mission, etc. you should be knowing if you have studied enough. It's part of your basic history syllabus. So for me, this is a category A question. Worst case, it might be a category B question, but you should get the right answer here. These are all questions in which you cannot miss out on. So already you saw, we have discussed almost 20 questions now. Majority of questions has been easy questions in which you can get the right answer. Only around 3-4 questions were tough questions, which you can come back to later, guess if required, etc. But otherwise, most of them has been easy questions. Now, question number 19 becomes a slightly tough question again. But with a bit of knowledge, you can actually get it right? But here, a bit of geographic knowledge is required. You should know what things are where, etc. Right? So, which of the following are correctly matched is the question, right? So, if you at least know that where is Khajuraho and where is Shirdi, some of these famous areas like Tirupati, Khajuraho, etc., you will still get the correct answer, right? So these kind of questions, it depends on a bit of geographic knowledge. So normally people from those areas or people who have gone to those areas have a slight advantage, but there's again nothing much you can do about it, okay? But this is a category C question. If you ask me, for you it might be different because you are very, very familiar with Tirupati being in Rayalaseema, etc. But otherwise, it's a category C question. Okay. Now, this kind of factual questions are pretty common. These are all important landmark areas. You're supposed to be knowing where each important landmark area is. These are things you will come across when you study NCERT. You should know which part of India it is in. So this is part of your revision. You should be knowing this. Okay. Now, question number 20. Okay. This we saw earlier. I told it's a category A question, but some of you have been asking me how to do elimination polity questions. So look at this question. It's actually a simple question. But if you don't know the answer, or if you're panicked in the exam hall and not very sure of the answer, see this part, state list. State list is mentioned there, right? Now, state list means it has to have Rajya Sabha participation, because Rajya Sabha is what ensures federalism in the country, right? So state list automatically means Rajya Sabha. So A and B is eliminated, okay? Now, in Rajya Sabha, is there a simple majority or a special majority? Now, if you apply logic to it, right? If you want to make a big change like changing the state list, which is part of the fundamental nature of the Indian constitution, the federalism itself, which is a fundamental part, it would require at least a special majority, right? So if you just apply that much logic, D comes out as the easy answer. So it's actually category A question, worst case category B, but you should get the answer right. It is a question in which you cannot not get the answer right if you study properly, if you know at least the basics of constitution. So it becomes a very, very easy question again. Okay, now this is again a kind of easy question if you have been familiar with the things. Okay, an inland shipping port has to be connected to sea by a long navigation channel is being constructed where, right? Now some states, now if you look at the geography, etc., you might be able to eliminate Chhattisgarh, right? Because there is no chance of Chhattisgarh really being able to do a port kind of connection like this. Andhra Pradesh has enough good ports already, so there is no reason for Andhra Pradesh to go and do it. It comes down to between Karnataka and Rajasthan, right? Now Rajasthan is pretty close to the sea, the Kutch area, etc. So there's a good chance that Rajasthan would be the one doing it, but you have to make an intelligent guess between Karnataka and Rajasthan and decide which would be the correct answer, right? Here the answer is Rajasthan. But it depends on having a bit of current affairs knowledge also. So if you know the answer, it becomes category A. But if not, it becomes a category C question under which you can eliminate Chhattisgarh and Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh because it's already there, Chhattisgarh because it's difficult for them. And Karnataka and Rajasthan, you can think about it and you'll have to make a 50-50 guess. And these guesses, risk has to be taken occasionally. But I told you earlier when you should take the risk, right? If you already have 150 marks, you don't need to take risk. But if you only reach 100 marks, you might have to take a bit of risk here and there. But in a very, very calculated manner, in a very, very systematic manner, you should take the risk. Okay. So, I don't want to give you a lot of examples and just keep repeating this because that will not help you much. What is going to help you, as you would already have realized, a lot of this elimination is going to come from your own experience. Okay, you have to keep on practicing it in your test series and apply what we have been discussing here, right? Apply the discussions that we're doing, and then you will be able to get better and better in answering and in eliminating, as well as in knowing more, because more questions you're exposed to, the better you become. So I want to close this discussion by telling you again that important thing is category A and B. You have to get maximum number of questions there, which will depend on how much effort you have put into your studying and your revision. Nothing else is going to help you beyond that, right? But these strategies of eliminating and knowing these basic principles, right? Knowing these basic principles like all of the above has a higher chance, absolute statements have a lower chance, always read the questions carefully. And the fourth one, only select if at least 3 or 2 options are eliminated, right? If you eliminate only one option, don't attempt it. If 3 or 2 options are eliminated, go ahead and attempt it. But always at a certain rate. You should know when to attempt. Okay. So with these basic principles, you can get some good marks in elimination. but it should be a very, very controlled elimination. Don't go overboard. Don't take too much guess, right? And overall, again, remember, in the exam hall, be very, very clear, and in every prelims test series, be very, very clear. This is the mark you want to get, 115 marks, right? And always mark all your category A questions and category B questions, and try to get at least 90 marks from your known easy questions. These are things you already studied. So at least 80 to 90 questions in your test series should be coming from things you already studied. This is how you should gauge yourself. Keep testing yourself on these things. Keep revising well, and success will be yours. Okay. Now, every test series, after every test series, we have discussion of that test series. There again, we'll be discussing how to get the right answer, bit of elimination, etc. So some students are asking me, please give elimination strategy for environment. Please give me elimination strategy for polity, etc. There is no separate elimination strategy for each different subject and stuff. In fact, for more factual questions, there is no elimination strategy at all. Right? Elimination strategy is just connecting the knowledge you have to the question, being calm and being smart and getting the right answer out, and only attempting if at least 3 or 2 options are eliminated, and then also going for an intelligent answer. Don't blindly guess. Have a reason why you're guessing, and after the test series, always try to analyze why you guessed that and why it was correct and why it was wrong and why that question came. If you do this systematically, you'll start getting better and better marks. And by the time the actual prelims comes, you should be able to get the magic 115 number. And if you get this, you can safely start preparing for mains, and main strategy we'll be discussing later. So thank you everyone for listening. Any further doubts, etc., please mail us. And if you want to get the PDF of what we just discussed, please go to this URL here, UPSC Prelims Exams 2016 GS1 Solutions Analysis Answer Key. You can get the entire discussion, etc., of what we discussed just now, right? The entire thing is there, and the PPT I showed you, those are again last year's question paper. So you can, if you want, you can get it here, or I can ask somebody to send you the PDF of this particular page. That can also be done. I will mail it to all of you guys, right? So thank you again for listening. All the best.